well we are prepared to face those challenges is going to determine our future, our success. If you see our own journey, maybe of the last 25 years, after the nuclear tests at Pokhran, we had sanctions, we had serious challenges before the nation. Nation progressed faster than ever before. From a growth rate of about 4% in 1998 that Vajpayee ji had inherited just before the Pokhran blasts, we grew the economy to over 8% growth. I think it was 8.4% in 2004. And he left behind a very strong economy, very strong fundamentals of the economy in 2004, which was even acknowledged by the then Finance Minister, Mr. Chidambaram, in his first budget speech, that he has a great platform on which he can build. History went the wrong way, that's unfortunate. And every other challenge that we have faced over the years, COVID did not deter India. We did face severe stress, but we came out honorably. We have grown ever since as the fastest growing large economy on the planet. And therefore, your theme of today resonates very deeply with our own ideology. Of course, I was seeing your logo. Orange seems to be the flavor of the day. Well, that orange was our original ideologue, Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay, had also spoken very strongly about self-reliance. In his speech, very articulated the vision of integral humanism, which is a guiding principle for all of us today in government. He had said, and I quote, "Self-reliance isn't merely an economic principle. It is a principle that shapes the nation's character." And he had very well articulated that it is the holistic human being's development that truly matters, that will define India's journey of growth. Today, I heard Harshvardhan Agarwalji talk about several factors that are important in our journey in the Amrit Kal. Whether it's innovation, whether it's skilling, whether it's the involvement of women and youth. The My formula nowadays has become very famous, and the Mahila Youth formula, and leads to even political successes. In fact, there was a time when most people would think good economics doesn't make for good politics. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has changed this old thinking, this old paradigm, and proven that good economics can make for good politics also. And look at the advantages that we have. In innovation, we are most cost competitive. Our young demographic dividend, the young population of India, provides us the strength on the back of which we can truly imagine or truly plan for large-scale innovation in the country. Day before yesterday, we had the Swiss minister come to engage with us on how we can expand investments from Switzerland and the EFTA countries. I'm sure you're all aware that the four-nation EFTA bloc, as a part of the FTA, committed to invest $100 billion in FDI, which will largely be innovation, which will largely be precision manufacturing. But that innovation in India, which will be probably at 1/5 the cost they would do it in Switzerland or in Liechtenstein or in the US or in Europe, which will happen at 1/5 that cost, will also need a mindset change. Will also need all of us to be willing to get out of the old culture where we were stuck on thinking which was 30 years behind our times. I was just sharing with somebody the other day, probably we could have done our FTAs with UK and European Union and with this EFTA bloc 25 years ago, but for the fixation in our mind that we have to protect the auto industry and wines and spirits. And what were we protecting? We were protecting a mindset that was not futuristic in its thinking. That was very, very backward in its thinking. Competition always brings more efficiency, always brings more choice for the consumer. It helps us look at our competitive advantages and go forward for the good of the nation. Similarly, when we looked at different sectors of the economy, we realized that we still have a long way to go in terms of inculcating that spirit of inquiry in our youth. And I think if FICCI is taking this up as a mission, it'll really do India a lot of good. It'll really help spur growth, faster growth, greater investment in innovation, R&D. In fact, no nation has become a developed nation so far without significant investment and effort on research and development. And from the side of the government, we have come forward with several programs to support our startup ecosystem, the deep tech ecosystem, our innovation. And mind you, every rupee that we spend in innovation in India is equivalent to 5 or 7 in the Western world. So when government gives a $12 billion RDI fund, Research, Development and Innovation Fund, coupled with the private sector's own contribution to the research project, the strength of our academia and our science and technology graduates, we are looking at a maybe $150 billion R&D on a purchasing power parity basis coming out of India. But we'll have to have laws which will accept and encourage innovation in the country, which will protect scientific inventions and which will guide people around the world to look at India as their destination for R&D and innovation. I liked your point about skilling, and we have a big advantage in skilling. Most of the developed world today has an aging population problem. With an aging population, there's one other problem, very much related, and that is a very mature mind which has got used to a certain way of working and thinking. To change that mind, to adapt emerging technologies and new way of working is not easy. I mean, we can all look into our own selves. Our children adopt technology, they are very fast on the uptake compared to us. And therefore, you will find in most developed countries, gradually a large number of people are getting into social welfare, are living off social welfare. They are not able to adapt to changing times, changing technologies. With a youthful population in India, connected to the net at a very young age, with 1 billion internet users, it's one of the greatest opportunity that we have in India to have smart kids connected to the net, digitally wise, looking at what's happening around the world, experimenting with new ideas, willing to learn newer way of working. We all know that ChatGPT, second largest user base in the world, is today in India. Second largest user base. If we use applied artificial intelligence in a smart manner, we can truly transform the youth of the nation to get them engaged with the most modern of technologies and skill them very quickly. Provide that manpower to the world and have a game-changing, a very impactful presence in the world of technology, in the world of tomorrow. I run a skill development center in my constituency in Mumbai. It's just 1 year old now. And it's a delight every time I visit there to see the enthusiasm of the young boys and girls in picking up some traditional vocations, but a lot of innovative and futuristic activities. Kindle has set up a center for skilling young women in cyber security. They're young women, young girls. Believe me, most of them are coming in from either the slums or very humble background. But they pick it up so fast, 4 months or so, and they are future ready. They are ready to be absorbed in a job at 5 or 6 lakh rupees a year. Immediately. With no great past experience, no great background in the family of high-tech work or high-tech activities. So that is an advantage if we leverage, and if FICCI takes this up as a mission, sets up skill development centers across the country in partnership with industry. The center also in Mumbai is run totally by industry. I have Blue Star there, training people on refrigeration technologies. So gives them a pool of trained manpower who do installation, repairs, maintenance. I have ITC there, training our young men and women into hospitality, a big area of the future. And the old age hospitality is not going to work in tomorrow. We'll need to be contemporary in all training that we are doing for our youngsters. And I think this can be a truly game-changing, and country's future depends on how well we skill our youth, how well we make our youth employable, help them to dream big, aspire big, and achieve big. And that advantage that we have in India should not be let go. We really need to leverage that. Friends, I was just thinking, how do I present the India story and why self-reliance will be at the core of the India story? We have all seen trade being weaponized. We have all seen the importance of having trusted partners around the world to work with countries who believe in fair trade and equal opportunity, both sides, which is why obviously we are working through a number of free trade agreements with developed nations. We've already concluded very robust, balanced, fair and equitable agreements with Australia, UAE, Mauritius, UK, 4-nation EFTA group. At this point of time, we are in talks with 14 countries or group of countries, collectively representing nearly 50 countries around the world. And our focus is on countries of significance, preferably from the developed world, where we complement each other. We are talking to Oman, but at the same time, Bahrain and Qatar want to enter into negotiations. The GCC also is now talking that the whole six-nation group would like to engage. We are talking to New Zealand simultaneously with Australia for a second stage agreement. We are reviewing the ASEAN and Korea free trade agreement to bring in more balance into it. We are in active discussions with the United States and with the 27-nation European Union. We are working with Eurasia, which is the Central Europe group of countries. We just started negotiations probably yesterday or day before yesterday. And we are equally engaged to start discussions, to start negotiations very quickly with Israel, with whom we finalized terms of reference only last week. Canada and India are looking at a comprehensive economic partnership agreement. Next week, we're going to kickstart conversations around that. South Africa and the countries of Southern Africa, SACU group, has expressed a desire to talk business, as has the Mercosur group of countries led by Brazil. I'm just trying to give you a flavor. Why India is so much in focus? It's because of all of you. And what you represent is a pestle. When I was trying to understand why that word came about, I also went into the dictionary meaning. And I realized it resonates very well with me in some sense also. Because I started my career in the steel industry. And pestle is a small round tool with a round end used for crushing food. You know, at home, dal kootte hain jaise. But it can also be used in industry. I think many of us in industry are familiar how graphite is made or how so many tools are made. Pestles will tell you the India story. P-E-S-T-L-E. P stands for our political situation, strong, decisive leadership, stable democracy where the rule of law prevails, government policies focused on ease of doing business, reducing compliance burden, reducing paperwork, reducing interference of officials in your business life, in the common man's day-to-day life, policy to open up newer sectors to the private sector. Space was opened up, now nuclear energy has been opened up, defense has already been opened up. A government whose policies are business-friendly, people-friendly, progress-friendly and future-friendly. And apart from political stability, we've also been successful in our tax policies. Direct tax, we're comparable to the best at 25% corporate tax. 12 lakh rupees middle class, almost all out of the tax. Individuals with 12 lakh rupee income out of the tax net. You just saw the transformational GST reforms recently, and you just saw the labor reforms come out, the 4 labor codes. Collectively demonstrating a government proactive in its effort to ease regulations, yet have very robust regulatory frameworks. And therefore, political support or political enabling framework will always be important. And the people of India have not let us down. They have supported the good work Prime Minister Modi has done. Otherwise, in a day and age where governments rarely get a third term, you gave Prime Minister Modi the third opportunity to serve the country. And since then, Maharashtra, Haryana, Delhi, Bihar, see the resounding results one after the other, which encourage us also to do more. ताली तो दो हाथ से ही बचती है ना हमारे को भी प्रोत्साहन मिलता है, हमें भी, हमारा भी उत्साहवर्धन होता है, हमारा भी हर्षवर्धन होता है। और हमें भी आनंद आता है और उसी में से विजय होती है। And since I started my career with power, तभी ज्योति जलती है। The E after P stands for economic. The economic policies. Look at our growth, fastest growing large economy, expected to be the fastest growing for many years to come. Inflation, do I need to say more? The last 10 years, we've seen the lowest decadal inflation ever in our history since independence. And of course, this year would be a very, very low inflation number. Everybody's waiting for RBI to reflect on the current inflation numbers, I believe. Interest rates today are almost at the level we had them during the Vajpayee era. So we had high interest rates up to 98, came down drastically in 99, 2000 to 2004, continuously fell, shot up like crazy from 4 to 14. And since 14, with a robust banking system in place, continuously on the decline. Except in the post-COVID period, where we had to control inflation through instruments of interest rate. Our unemployment rates are amongst the lowest we have ever seen. Most companies come and tell me, आदमी नहीं मिलते, कामगार नहीं मिलते, employees नहीं मिलते. Despite apparent stress in the apparel industry, the gentleman who started Tirupur came up to me